Hi, everyone. How are you? I hope you're all staying healthy and safe, and I hope you're practicing social distancing. I miss you guys, and I can't wait to see you again. Today, we're going to start with pronunciation, and I'm going to be reading on page 61 of the Oxford Picture Dictionary. So, if you could please turn to page 61, we're going to start reading with cleaning supplies. So if you'll just do me a favor and repeat these words after me, I'm going to read the words and phrases on page 61. First is cleaning supplies. Feather duster. Recycling bin. Oven cleaner. Rubber gloves. Steel wool soap pads. Sponge mop. Bucket/pail. Furniture polish. Rags. Vacuum cleaner. Vacuum cleaner attachments. Vacuum cleaner bag. Step ladder. Glass cleaner. Squeegee. Broom. Dustpan. Cleanser. Sponge. Scrub brush. Dishwashing liquid. Dish towel. Disinfectant wipes. Trash bags. Ways to ask for something. Please hand me the squeegee. Can you get me the broom? I need the sponge mop. Pair practice. Make new conversations. Please hand me the sponge mop. Here you go. Do you need the bucket? Yes, please. Can you get me the rubber gloves too? Okay, now that we've finished the pronunciation part of the lesson, we're ready to begin the Unit 1 and Unit 2 review on page 30. And I've got my daughter here, Nicole, and she's going to help us with the reading. You can follow along if you want to read at the back of the book. You can read the conversation along with us. I'm going to be Vladimir, and Nicole is going to be Marisol. Say hi, Nicole.
Hello.
Okay, here we go. On page 30. How long have you been here, Marisol?
About 2 months.
Really? You're a good student, Marisol. How did you learn English so quickly?
Well, Vladimir, I ask a lot of questions in class. When I don't understand the teacher, I raise my hand and ask him to explain. I enjoy learning that way.
I'm too shy to raise my hand in class.
Well, why don't you ask the teacher your questions after class?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Sometimes I just ask the person next to me.
Oh, so then you're not so shy.
Actually, I'm not really very outgoing, you know. Hey, Marisol, do you write vocabulary on index cards? So you can study on the bus? That's what I do.
Well, I don't have much time to study like that, but I talk to my coworkers a lot. I listen to their conversations and learn new words that way. I like talking to them.
And you know, I like talking to you. You give me great ideas, Marisol. Thanks a lot. See you next time. Well, thanks, Nicole, for helping out today.
You're welcome.
All right. Now that we've finished reading the conversation between Marisol and Vladimir, let's take a look at Part 1, the listening exercise on page 30. Now we're ready to answer the questions about which person did the following actions, or who is the person being described by, like number 5 says, is shy or is outgoing. So if you'll take a look at Part 1 on page 30, we'll answer these questions next. Number 1 says, asks the teacher questions. Asks the teacher questions. Was that Vladimir or Marisol? Well, the answer in the book says Marisol. And if we look at the conversation, we can see the fourth part says, well, Vladimir, I ask a lot of questions in class. So that was Marisol who said that. Number 2, it says, asks another student questions. Asks another student questions. Well, the person who does that is Vladimir. Marisol is the one who asks the teacher questions, and Vladimir is the one who asks other students questions. Number 3, it says, writes vocabulary on index cards. If you look at the bottom of the column, at the back of the book, it says, hey Marisol, do you write vocabulary on index cards? And if you take a look at the top of the next column, you can see that's what I do. And who is speaking at this time? The person that's speaking at this time is Vladimir. So that would be the answer to question number 3. Vladimir writes vocabulary on index cards. Number 4 says, talks to coworkers. Look at the conversation and see who talks to coworkers. In that very next part, it says, well, I don't have much time to study like that, but I talk to my coworkers a lot. And the person who's speaking here is the B part, and that's Marisol. So the answer to that question, talks to coworkers, is Marisol. Now let's look at part 5. It says, is shy. Is shy. Who was the person who was shy? That was Vladimir. And the last one is 6, is outgoing. The person who is outgoing is Marisol. So those are the answers to part 1 in the listening section. Now, let's go to part 2, the grammar part. It says, complete the story, use the correct words. We're going to be reading the words that are in the green box where it says homework problems. So all you have to do is look under the blank and choose the correct words that go in the blank. It says Jamila, and you would use has or has had a lot of problems with her son Faisal. Now, if you look at the end of the sentence, it says the past 2 months. So that shows you that this is a sentence that's about the past. So we need a verb that's in the past. Has is in the present tense, so we need to choose has had. And the book has the answer has had in the first blank. And then it says blank the past 2 months. Whenever we're talking about a period of time, we use the word for. But if we're talking about when an action began in the past and continued to the present, we use the word since. So in this case, it says the past 2 months, so that's a period of time. So we need the word for. So don't use the word since, use for in this blank, number 2. Then it says, he doesn't enjoy blank science. Well, the verb in the sentence is enjoy, so we need a noun so that we can have an object of the verb enjoy. So Would it be studying or study? Well, studying is a gerund, and you make a verb into a noun by adding ing to the base form of the verb. And therefore, the answer would be studying with the ing on the end of the verb. And that makes a gerund, and that gives us a noun so that we can have an object for the verb enjoy. Next, it says, he blank bad grades on his test. Well, since we've been using the past tense for the first part, when Jamila was having a lot of problems with her son Faisal, it says Jamila has had, and that's present perfect. So what we're doing is we're talking about something that's happened in the past. So we need another verb in the present perfect tense. So would you say get or has gotten? The correct answer would be has gotten, because the way you form the present perfect is to use the present tense of the verb to have, and in this case it's has, and the past participle for the verb got, which is gotten. So the correct answer would be he has gotten bad grades on his tests. Then it says the teacher said that Faisal blank his homework. Again, we need the present perfect, so it would be hasn't done his homework. Hasn't done his homework. And then it says blank December. Well, December is a specific time when he didn't do his homework. He began not doing his homework in December and continued to not do his homework until the present time. So that means we need the verb since. I'm sorry, not the verb since, the word since. So the answer to number 6 would be since. Next, it says, Faisal said he hates blank his science homework. Now, in this case, what does Faisal hate? Well, in this case, we need a gerund again because we need an object of the verb hates. Hates is a verb, so we need a noun. And therefore, we need a gerund. So you would use doing, doing. Don't use the verb do because then it would be a verb and you can't have a verb as an object of another verb. So we need the verb doing, which has been changed into a noun because it's a gerund when you add ing to the end of the base form of the verb do. So it would be Faisal said he hates doing his science homework because he doesn't understand it. Next sentence, Jamila blank overtime at her job. Again, we need the present perfect tense, so it would be has worked. Has worked. Jamila has worked overtime at her job, and then it says the past 2 months. Well, since 2 months is a period of time, we need the word for. So it would be for in blank number 9. For the past 2 months. And then finally, number 10, it says, so she blank able to help him. And again, we need the present perfect, so it would be hasn't been able to help him. What should Jamila and her son do? So once again, blank number 2 is for, blank number 3 is studying, 4 is has gotten, 5 hasn't done, 6 is since, 7 is doing, 8 is has worked, 9 is for, and 10 is hasn't been. Now, let's go to part B of the grammar exercise. It says look at the answers and write the questions. So that means if we're going to try to understand how to phrase the question, we need to look at part B, which is the answer, in order to be able to understand how to ask the question. So in each of these problems, we're going to look at part B first and decide how we're going to be able to ask the question to give that answer. So number 1 says Jamila has had problems with her son for the past 2 months. Now, the question says how long? How long means for what period of time? So, in this case, we need to ask how long did something happen? And what happened? It says Jamila had problems with her son for the past 2 months. So the question would be, how long has Jamila had problems with her son? How long has Jamila had problems with her son? Part 2. If we look at part B, which is the answer, it says, yes, he has. Faisal has gotten bad grades on his tests for the past 2 months. Now the question says ever in the middle. So we have to ask a question about if something ever happened. So the question would be, what happened? Well, what happened was that he got bad grades. So we would ask, has Faisal ever gotten bad grades on his tests? Has Faisal ever gotten bad grades on his tests? Then finally, number 3 says, Jamila has worked overtime for the past 2 months. Now, what has she done for the past 2 months? It says how long. So it says, you want to know what the question would be. It would be, how long has Jamila worked overtime? Because the answer says she's worked overtime for the past 2 months. So you would say, how long has Jamila worked overtime? That would be the question that would give that answer. And now we're finished with part 3. Now, let's turn to page 31 and look at pronunciation. This says stressing content words. Content words. Now, content words are nouns or verbs, or sometimes we use adjectives or adverbs as content words. So what we're going to do is underline all the nouns and the verbs and adjectives and adverbs. So number 1, she loves playing cards with friends. Which ones are the nouns and the verbs and any adjectives or adverbs that we see? Well, the answer would be loves, playing, cards, and friends. These would be the words that you would underline, and they're the content words. Next, he hates working in the garden. The content words are hates, working, and garden. Do you like being alone? The content words are like, being, and alone. Like is a verb, alone is an adjective, and being is a verb. So, do you like being alone? The content words would be like, being, and alone. She enjoys cooking less than eating. The content words are enjoys, cooking, and eating. Number 5, I like living in the city. The content words are like, living, and city. Number 6, how long has Shen studied English? The content words are how long, Shen, studied, and English. Number 7, he's been here for 6 months. The answer is here and 6 and months. Number 8, have you ever studied Korean? The content words are ever, studied, and Korean. Number 9, I've never studied Chinese. The content words are never, studied, and Chinese. He graduated from college in 2013. Graduated, college, and 2013 are the content words. Now, you could listen to the way I pronounce those sentences, and you can see that I stress the content words when I speak. So usually when you're speaking, you want to stress the content words in the sentences that you say. Let's look at part B, and let's see how we would pronounce the different examples that they give in part B. Number 1, what is the perfect job for you? What is the perfect job for you? So you stress what and perfect job. Number 2, the perfect job depends on your personality. So you stress perfect, job, depends, and personality. Have you ever felt discouraged? Ever felt and discouraged? Have you ever set goals for learning English? Ever set goals and learning English? What does that word mean? What, word, and mean. Intellectual people often enjoy working alone. Now, all of those words are content words. She has volunteered at a hospital for 2 years. Volunteered, hospital, and 2 years. He got married in 2010. Married and 2010. How long have you lived in your present house? How long, lived, and present house. And finally, number 10, she spends a lot of time studying at the library. Spends, time studying, and library. Well, I hope you enjoyed the lesson today. Thank you very much, and I hope you'll tune in for the next one. Have a great day.